Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Thanks. Hi everyone and welcome to SkyBet and Gaming's Virtual Careers Spotlight. I'm Jade, I'm the Talent Delivery Partner for Trade and Customer Experience and Risk. So for those of you who aren't too sure what SkyBet is all about, we are one of the UK's leading betting and online gaming businesses with offices in Leeds, Sheffield, as well as an office in Solihull. We've got various products such as Sky Bet, Sky Vegas, Sky Poker, Sky Bingo, Sky Lotto, and free-to-play games like Super 6, plus many more. If this is your first virtual career spotlight, please keep an eye out for other events in the series. Each week we'll be focusing on different teams from across the business. It's a really great opportunity for you to hear from our experts. Some housekeeping before I introduce today's speakers. We would like this to be an interactive session. We encourage any questions you may have at the end. So if you think of any during the session, just make sure you're signed in to your YouTube and you can post questions on the side, and we'll get to them at the end of the session if they're not already covered. This session is going to be recorded, so you can watch it back at a later date, especially if you need to pop out and miss any of it. Hopefully there'll be no technical issues, but it is a live event, so fingers crossed. It's not always guaranteed. So today's spotlight, we're with our football trading team within the Bet Tribe. Joining me today, I have Josh Jackson, Liam Henshaw and Robert Carr. So to introduce you all to everyone who's listening, it's probably best to start with what you all do. So Josh, if you can get the ball rolling, let us know what you do, how long you've been with the business, etc. And then you guys can take it in turns.
Spot on. Cheers, Jade. Yes, my name's Josh Jackson. I'm currently an in-play supervisor within the football team. I've been at the company just under 3 years. Started off as a trading assistant, so that's one of our part-time roles within the in-play team, and then ended up going through as a full-time member of staff for just over a year, and then actually progressed up to supervisor early on, start of this season. I think for me, attracted to SB&G, it was my flatmate at the time actually worked for the company in a full-time position, so he kind of alerted me with some upcoming roles. The team's grown massively, so when I first started there was only like 6 trading assistants, and now I think there's like 4 times the size of that in our team. So yeah, it's been a good progression for me across the board.
Yeah,
similar to Josh. My career path at SkyBet's kind of similar to a same kind of way. Started off as trade assistant whilst at university. When there was basically no in-play team, we just kind of started it from scratch, and then going from there, from a trading assistant to a full-time trader, and then now to a supervisor, similar to Josh. What attracted me to SkyBet, probably similar sort of things. Knew that it was a big brand, something that I had a real keen interest in terms of betting and sport. And yeah, just being part of a new team that was ever going to continue to grow.
Brilliant.
And yeah, I'm Rob. I'm the only representative from the PreMatch team. So yeah, we've got a smaller team than in play, but we've got a team of about 7 of us. So I came straight out of university. Been at the company for just a couple of months, under 2 years now. And in terms of being attracted to SBG, I went over to Australia after university and then came back, and exactly like Liam, I have a keen interest in football and betting, so makes sense to combine the two. So I spent a couple of months hopefully just waiting for a job to come up with SkyBet. It did, got the interview, and then yeah, got the job. So been in the same role ever since on PreMatch football.
Brilliant, great. So who else forms the wider team? It would be good to know the whole trading team as a whole and how that's split up.
Yeah, so obviously us guys, as you just heard, are actually part of the football team. So we actually have 3 different teams across the whole trading department. So that includes football. We have a team designated for racing, and then a team designated for all other sports. All other sports, anything from tennis, NFL, your reality TV. So we've obviously had markets in the past up for like Love Island and stuff like that. For ourselves in football, Rob stated there, he's actually in PreMatch, so that's one small team. And then we have the Rab Social, who link in with those. We have ourselves as a in-play team, who basically is like PreMatch will cover everything up until the game kicks off. Once it's in play, yeah, that's everything to do with us. And then in addition to that, you also have a centralised risk and operation team, and also on top, linking in, we have an analytics team. And then, so that's just within football. And then this then obviously moves across to the other teams as well. So our risk and operational teams are centralised. So they cover across racing, sports and football. But then you'll have individual teams within each section of those as well.
Yeah, no, that was a good overview. Thanks, Josh. And for those who are completely new to our industry, because there will be people who are just love sports but don't really know so much about like what a trading team does, what would you say that trading essentially does for SkyBet? What part do they play in the business?
So essentially, if you were to go and put on, if you log onto our site this evening, and you'll be able to click on the Manchester City v Arsenal, you'll be able to see there's lots of different markets up there at that time. This is obviously before the game's kicked off this evening. So essentially at this point in time, Rob's team would be the ones who put all those markets out. So they do a lot of compiling using specific models to generate these prices. And then we have basically our risk team who will help guide these prices up until kickoff. And then that's when the in-play team will come in and take over, from the moment it kicks off, basically. Your operation teams link in, so they're a great bridge between like our contact center and settlement aspects like that. And then this is a similar kind of process which goes between. So that's just an example in football. Similar happens in sports and racing as well.
Brilliant. Okay. So Rob, can you talk us through like a typical day at SBG in your role in PreMatch?
Yeah. Like Jay said, we on our PreMatch team, we manage everything that you see on your app leading up till kickoff. So as soon as the game kicks off, it's taken from us. But I guess if you just look at one game on its own, it's a snowball effect. Really, we'll go from maybe a week out, we'll start adding some of the markets, your full-time result markets, your goal markets, and then we'll be adding more and more and more. There's we take a lot of responsibility for the boosts and the headline offers that will probably be quite familiar to people who bet with SkyBet. Talking double up boosts, SSPBs, the big trebles that we have on the Saturdays, they come from the PreMatch team. And probably just since I started, really, in the last couple of years, there's been a real takeoff of Opta markets. So with those, we're looking at the shots on targets, your shots, your tackles, they're really popular now. They make up most of our offers, a lot of our boosts, and we have a lot of fun with coming up with the odds for them as well. So yeah, they're good for us and good for the customer. I think one thing, if I say from a pre-match perspective, everything to do with odds comes from an expectancy. So whether that's how many goals you expect in a game, or how many corners, how many bookings, every odd that you see on site will come from an expectancy. So just to give a bit of an example, just look at a simple one like Jamie Vardy's shots on target, which are always really popular with our customers. All the strikers have shots on target. Good odds, people like betting on them. So going back to the expectancy, you'd have an expectancy for how many shots on target Leicester will have in the game. If we just call that 4, we look at Jamie Vardy himself. He's probably going to be, you have a percentage, so each player has a percentage. Just to simplify it, Jamie Vardy maybe 25% of Leicester's shots on target, which would have him having 1 shot on target 4 times 0.25, and then from that you've got an expectancy. I don't want to confuse anyone, but from that expectancy is how odds run. So our pre-match work is just running from all them, calculating, and then you have a probability from that expectancy, and they're the odds that you see on site. There's a lot that goes on in the background to face these odds to the customers, it makes our job really interesting because there's such a variety of different markets. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of markets on each game. Everybody will be clicking on Man City Arsenal tonight and seeing 6 nice price boosts with Kevin De Bruyne to score outside the area. They'll see lots of different markets on corners, lots of different markets on cards, and all the Opta markets as well. So that makes up our pre-match product, really, that everybody enjoys going and flicking onto the game and placing their bets on the site. But it's it makes our job really interesting on a pre-match side. So we will just do loads of different tasks all through the day to get that snowball bigger and bigger for each game. Is probably the best way I could summarise it.
Well, I'm really glad you simplified it. Literally. I think what you're trying to say though, like if you've got that interest obviously in the sports, but also the numbers side, because it is all, it's the analytical, the numbers, probability.
That's it, yeah.
You don't just have to be besotted with football, really, because if you just love working with numbers and data, it's it's fine as well. Really simplified for people like me. So Liam, how would you say that your day differs? What's the typical day look like for you, Liam? Oh, you're on mute, Liam.
Signal's not looking great, is it?
Oh, well, Josh, you can go for it. I'll give it to you.
It's stitched up here, aren't I? So our day kind of differs a fair bit from Rob's. It tends to be in-play football, like be on site now, running throughout the day. It's quite busy. So we have traders starting any time between 7 and 3 o'clock throughout the day. We do have night traders as well, but essentially for our in-play kind of guys, they will log on, and like Rob says, it's all about expectancy. So we have a lot of models designed where we can run a specific market. So you got, like you say there, you got full-time result, you're over 2.5 goals. These are like coupon-based markets. So we have like kind of a system which we can run our odds through that, and an in-play trader would be assigned specific games throughout the day. So as we've said before, that could go from trading a club friendly to trading La Liga, the Premier League. It's all standards you can imagine. So it's an interesting day for a trader. Like I say, it's quite variable. We have a lot of tasks, so it's a very operational system we kind of run. So there's set things to be carrying out throughout the day. And then when it comes to the televised, if you do bet with ourselves, you'll notice the product is slightly enhanced. So like I say, for this evening, for the big Premier League games, there tend to be multiple more markets on, and that's when we'll have quite a few traders based around one game, and that's the entertaining part. You've got you're watching the game, managing different markets which are very specific to the game state, and obviously things which are appealing to the customer as well. So it's quite a fun day as an in-play trader for sure. But then that's, like I said, that's for the standard. For ourselves as supervisors, we spend a lot of time overseeing a lot of this and just essentially making sure everything goes as well as possible. And for us, again, yeah, it's just about enhancing that customer journey, making sure we're nailing everything for the customers out there and hitting everything they want.
Yeah, so you've said that the supervisors and a trader role differs. We do hire a lot of trading assistants. So what would you expect, like the difference for a trading assistant? Because that's a really good foot in the door for people joining, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So like I say, yeah, I think it shows, like I say, myself and Liam came up from trading assistants. I think our current full-time pool, I think the majority of those are all from trading assistants as well. So it's coming back. But I trade assistants, yeah. So they essentially come in during our peak time. So as you can imagine, football tends to pick up during midweek evenings, especially at weekends. And yeah, so our trading assistants actually get to do a lot of the roles which a full-time trader would actually do. So quite a bit of responsibility in a way put on yourselves, but it's something all of our trading assistants thrive on and really enjoy. And like I say, a lot of the time, like for myself and Liam, we were both training assistants whilst at university in final year, and we had the opportunity just coming in on an evening, lots of opportunities, Champions League football, like at the moment, as you can imagine, lots of live TV. So yeah, you end up a lot of the time coming in, generating these odds, using them, maintaining prices throughout a game. You've got the football on, and then like say you get involved with settlement. There's a lot which goes on behind the scenes from what you see actually on the site. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, brilliant. Liam, I think you missed the last question, so I'm going to give this one to you.
Okay.
So would you say at the moment you're working on any projects? If you are, what kind of things are you working on?
Yes, I think one big thing that we've kind of been through and wants to build a business case for when our supervisor role was kind of like the value of games during a time before they kick off. So trying to close up the gap between, right, this is a pre-match and this is a live event. Well, actually, can we get our live events on site a little bit before the events kick off? Try and give that customer a good experience of not even noticing that there's no event on site and just trying to improve that customer pathway. So one thing that we've kind of have done over the past, since for the past 12 weeks or so, we've been putting up live events early and trying to drive that customer engagement, and from that we've basically been recording stakes, bets, is this impacting other areas of business, and then from there trying to build a business case to actually allow us to do that more frequently and without all the manual work behind it. So that's probably one of the biggest things I've worked on, but as supervisor pool in general, it's just kind of trying to find those optimizations across the team and building business cases for getting things more automated and trying to help our lives easier, the traders' lives easier, but also improve that customer experience.
Yeah, and how easy would you say it is? Like, if you've got an idea, how easy do you think it is to like see that go through to like completion?
Yeah, I think for a business our size, I think it's surprisingly easy at times. Like if you're able to kind of put a value on what work you want to be doing on and the impact and basically the positive sentiment that it will have on customers, I think it's pretty easy. We're quite a autonomous team and a business, so if we're able to kind of go off our own back and provide that value, no one really has any qualms about it. So yeah, I'd say pretty straightforward. Definitely.
Fab. Okay. So what would you say you're most looking forward to over the next few months, Liam?
So for me specifically, I've got kind of like a couple of things. So main thing is kind of football across all range of leagues. So we've got a French league starting up again in a couple of weeks, and obviously a lot of football going on now. So basically having all the big leagues to drive the customer engagement, to be able to offer the best product and really drive that customer impact and make sure they're having a good experience as well. And then I think one thing for me, which is big for this time of the season, is club friendly season. So it's a really challenging time for operations and for our team specifically, as it's quite typically low level games, but we do trade a lot of in play. However, being able to trade those games does make traders a lot better. It makes them sharper, helps improve their trading skills because they are quite difficult to trade. And then going from there helps to ramp up our number of games, our offering, and then ultimately, again, impacting that customer experience to make sure that we've got everything that they would want to bet on as well.
Yeah, definitely. And what about kind of challenges, Rob? What do you think the biggest ones will be over the next couple of months?
Yeah. Well, like Liam said, it's there's a busy couple of months coming up, which is great. To be fair, there aren't many football traders who don't like watching football, so we're all very excited to have most of the leagues back now. Premier League back tonight, and then on telly basically every day from Friday for the next 2 months, which is very exciting. But also comes with challenges. We want to get the offering that our customers want onto the app, and maybe go back a few months. We didn't have to have all the markets up on every game, but now with them all being televised, there's an expectancy that customers will see what they want to bet on, which is great, and it means that for a challenge for our team, we have to meet that expectancy. We've done really well last week or so. It's obviously all kicked off. We've started getting everything up for these games tonight. We were sort of eased back in with the German Bundesliga coming back a bit early, which is maybe helps, but that challenge of basically the customers not noticing anything different about the app is one that we'll have to meet with. But again, like I said, it's one that would really excite us, and we love watching the games. We love going onto our own app and seeing the work we've done, or I do anyway. I don't know if I'm just sad, but yeah, that would be the main challenge, I think, next couple of months.
Yeah, brilliant. As Liam looks like he's gone again. He's having a bad day. So I'm sure people are going to be keen to hear what it's like working at SkyBet and Gaming. So Rob, you touched on it a little bit before, but this was your first full-time position coming out of uni. So what was it like joining and learning the ropes?
Yeah, it was really good, to be fair. SkyBet couldn't be more helpful with coming into trading. So the first few weeks I sort of made my way around the different teams. JJ talked everyone through the different teams there are, but we've got obviously different sections of football. I was sat with guys probably a couple of days each team. You get to know how the business works, how trading operates, and at the same time you get to know, I guess, the culture of working, how everybody works, flexibility, but also how you're expected to carry out your job. So I think probably 3-4 weeks in, I'd had a really good idea of what everybody did sat in trading, how you go about, how you carry yourself. They couldn't have been more helpful, really. And then once you're in and you are up to date, you're just learning all the tasks. There's so many different models, so many different jobs we have to do. It took a few months to get up to speed, and then you're away. So yeah, I really enjoyed starting. Couldn't have been easier. Moved down to Leeds, moved away from home. So yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, and did you feel like you made, because obviously if you're moving to a new city, this can happen quite a lot for people who join us. Did you feel like SkyBet embedded you quite well into the team, and you had like a network as soon as you came? Yeah. We all get on really well. But I think the key thing is probably you coming into work with people who have very similar interests and are keen to learn, because not many people come into a company like SkyBet and trading in particular with much experience of trading. I guess obviously you might get a few in from other companies, but apart from that, most people are learning on the job, which is good. Everybody understands. They've all been in the same position, and good social aspect to work in. Everyone gets on well, works well together. So yeah, good. Very social. That's great. Again, Liam, I'm not too sure if you're there, so well, Josh, it's for you, I'm afraid. So you've progressed quite a bit since you joined. How did you find progression at SkyBet? Have you found it? Are the opportunities there? And why did you choose to stay at SkyBet?
I would say the opportunities are definitely there. One of the main reasons I want to stay on. For myself as a trading assistant, we had a very small team at the time, like I said, but you felt very much part of the group. And like Rob said, as soon as you work there, you very quickly realise the culture and what people are like around you. So I think we speak about it quite often. Everyone's just so like determined to be the best, and like Rob's saying there, driving the product, making it as great as it possibly can be. So I think it's been around a group of people, like say, with similar interests to yourself, and people who all just want to clearly develop professionally and as a group. So coming in as a full-time member of staff after becoming a training assistant was just great, because you move up on the hours, you obviously get to spend a lot more time around the teams, and as soon as you kind of move through the business a lot more, you expand to many more other departments. So we're just talking from trading. So like I think Rob's mentioned it briefly there. They've got like marketing teams, a content team. We have teams who obviously design these models that we use for a lot of our pricing. So all of a sudden you start branching out more and more. And I think that's one of the really interesting parts. Like I say, just get to meet 4 of different people, and it's amazing from that section. What was the second part of the question?
I guess, like, what would you say are the main perks of working at SkyBet, other than fabulous people?
The fabulous, yeah, I would say it's definitely the team's great, and I think it's the product as well. I think it's actually believing in everything we kind of put out, and like I say, we're very passionate about it. And like I say, I think like Rob's saying there, like a lot of work goes into everything which goes on site, whether that be from a pre-match perspective and in play across all the sports, like with Ascot at the moment, racing and things like that. It's a lot of work goes in, and I think it's just getting all that together and seeing it on the front end. And it's great just seeing like positive reviews from our customers and seeing the reports and just seeing how we're kind of doing across the industry as well. And like I say, I think it is, just that number one mindset is the big one.
Yeah,
and you get looked after with really good Wi-Fi, as you can see by Liam.
Oh god. And what about like other perks, like benefits? Rob, what do you particularly like about SkyBet?
Nice culture of exercise. You get your little gym membership. Sky, you get your Sky TV, you get your Sky Wi-Fi. That's always a big thing when people start at SkyBet, getting signed up for that. In terms of a benefit of actually having a job where you can sit next to someone and talk about football all day, I'd have that as a big benefit. Nothing to do with getting anything for free, but it's great to be able to sit there, and you might work a different job and not be allowed to talk all day about football, but in this job you have to talk all day about football, and it's a big positive.
Yeah, funny, when I'm there all you talk about is food, but fair enough. So the recruitment process, there'll be a few people who probably are thinking, how do I get into trading at SkyBet? Like you've touched on, what's really good is you don't actually have to have experience as a trader when you're applying for our trading assistant roles. Just like that curiosity in kind of learning how we do it and having an interest in generally the sport that you're applying to is really important. Can you tell me about the recruitment process for entry and more senior roles, Josh?
Yeah, so for more senior roles, we tend to obviously take applications online usually, and away from the TAs, we tend to just go straight into formal interviews. So you'll have, depending on the department you're going in, we tend to have, so like when Rob was probably interviewed for pre-live, he'll have had somebody from that department, but we always get somebody from an alternate department as well. And with that as well, it's really good to get if you have, like, let's say you've got somebody from racing, somebody from an in-play, and someone from a pre-live perspective or sports, mixing it up. We can sometimes across those interviews as well just get a bit of an establishment for the kind of person we see in front of us. And I'd say there's sometimes traits which kind of can be more suited to specific roles as well, so we can pick up on those kind of things. But yes, it's straight into like a formal interview. Usually, if sometimes we kind of run there's a little small test, but it's nothing too serious. It's more about, like, say, understanding those key values and what we kind of want to see in the traders within the whole trading department. But yeah, that's from a full-time perspective how the interviews would work. Yeah,
sometimes we do mini assessment centres as well, don't we?
Yeah.
For trading assistants.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So in terms of success, I guess it's important. People want to know, you just mentioned like key values and what we want to see. What does success look like? Or coming into the team, what kind of things we want to see in our candidates? either of you can answer that because Liam isn't present.
It's just avoiding all this.
Yeah, Liam's just a blank walking head there. Yeah, successful. JJ's touched on it, but just improving the product. So we, I think SkyBet comes up with a lot of markets. Some of them get pulled very quickly because they're not taking much stakes, but we're coming up with lots of new ideas. It's really good when you come up with an idea and see it on the app and see people are interested in it and people get a few winners and it takes off. That's great. And that helps you in the business. Obviously JJ and Liam have moved into supervisor positions, but that's on the back of working hard and improving the product and the way that we work. So yeah, there's opportunities to move up, and everybody helps each other in the teams, I think.
Yeah. If we were doing an assessment centre for a trading assistant, Josh, like what kind of things would you be wanting to see from someone? Just because that tends to be the most vacant role we normally have, isn't it, really?
Yeah, no, that's true. So a lot of it comes to critical thinking as well. It's a very fast-paced environment, especially as an in-play trader. It's dynamic. So again, we link in with, I named all the teams at the start of the presentation. We literally deal with these teams day in, day out. So communication's massive, interpersonal skills, being able to interact with these individuals across different teams. But then, yeah, it's being able to deal with the pressure. Like saying in play, everything's running live. So you can't afford to be sitting on an issue or anything like that. We have to act instantaneously. So yeah, being able to deal with that little bit of pressure. And yeah, I just think it's definitely a team role. Everything, like I say, they've got a very everyone links up basically really well, and being able to orientate around that's important. But yeah, I think mainly those really, and then everyone kind of gets a bit worried because it's obviously a lot of odds, things like that, the maths side of it. Obviously, having a basic and fair understanding of maths and a decent sporting background knowledge is ideal, but as you mentioned before, it's not like you don't have to be saying like you've worked for another betting company to come in. Myself, I just came in as a sports science student. I'd never had any exposure to the industry before. So it just shows what you can kind of come in with. That's like decent understanding, but there's so many opportunities in the training which gets put in place. You don't get left behind. So it's a good platform to build on.
Yeah, definitely. And you do a lot of like side-by-side training and things, don't you? So when people get bought in, it's not thrown in the deep end. You're not just like making odds, you're not just like experimenting. You do get quite a lot of training, don't you?
Yes, yeah. So we have at least a minimum. So what we do is about a 2-week training period for our trading assistants, and then you kind of go over like over a 6-week kind of progression where you'll slowly get integrated into the different forms of trading. So yeah, and we tend to have people coming through in small groups as well. So like I say, there's a nice adjustment to it. You get to meet people across the business, leadership teams, there's welcome lunches. Like I say, we've got big teams. We try and integrate everybody, make sure everyone gets to know each other quickly. And then, yeah, it's just it's a great way with all the tools we have to learn your trade essentially. And the tools we have, you just get to watch your progression as well. It's great to see how you're actually doing with all of your work as well. So that's a big one for our team.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add before we go to questions? What about you, Liam?
He's got out of this very well, hasn't he?
I know, he's done well. So what we'll do is we'll go to questions, and then, sorry guys, it's going to be you two answering those. So first one we've got from Jack is, hi, I'm currently on the SkyBet Careers website and I don't see any trading jobs available. Will there be opportunities in the near future? Thanks. I'm probably the best one to answer this. So there's definitely going to be positions coming up. We did just have some on last week, but there's a high demand for some of those roles. So you do have to be quick. I'd say the best thing to do is if you are interested in joining SkyBet in a trading capacity or any capacity, is to sign up to our talent community. And that means as soon as that job goes live, you'll be notified. So what you would do is you'd sign up, you'd say which kind of business areas you're interested in. And then as soon as a position comes available in that area, you'll get an email to make an application, and your application will go in there first. This will just help avoid kind of you missing the deadline for those applications. So that's definitely the best one to do. But yeah, definitely some positions going to be available in the next couple of weeks. Other one, I'm just having a look. Someone's asked what a typical day is, but I think that's pretty much what we've covered. So Nathan said, I know we've kind of touched on this, but maybe just give you top 3 advice points. So what's the best advice you can give for someone who is trying to gain a career in trading? So someone who perhaps doesn't have any experience on their CV, which would lend themselves to kind of showing that, you know, they've worked in it already. What would be your top advice?
I would at least read up on a few books. There's lots of books on Amazon about the compilation of odds and stuff. I mean, I did a little bit of work experience with a little syndicate before I started SkyBet, but apart from that, I was fresh out of uni. I did a history degree, so nothing to do with the compilation of odds. But read a few books, try and get an understanding of how prices appear on site. Bored everyone to death talking about expectancies, but some knowledge of that, if you come into an interview knowing how it works slightly, as long as you're quick to learn and have a real keen interest, like JJ said about having a real keen interest in football, like we all do, I think, or racing or sports, I think that will put you in a really good position to get any of the vacancies that come up.
Yeah, I'd say if you're someone who's not come in from in the industry before, you know, you've not worked in the industry before and you're applying for a job as a trader as opposed to a trading assistant, you would definitely need to have a cover letter justifying kind of your reasons, or an email or something to kind of justify what it is about this industry that you want to join, because that trader level would too need a bit more kind of experience in that role, whereas a trading assistant is definitely the foot in the door to join. So another one from Nick, we've got, so to what extent is odds compilation determined by data and models versus a trader's knowledge, intuition?
You go.
Yeah, I'll answer it pretty much. Yeah, there's a huge amount of data. We have massive databases, particularly for our Opta markets. You run ratings for teams, which form the basis of all the full-time result markets, which is a combination of data and trader knowledge, trader opinion on certain teams. But there's a huge amount goes into it. Yeah, expected goals is a big thing that's come into football in the last 5-10 years. But professional gamblers have been using that sort of stuff for a long time. It's a battle between bookmaker and customer at times to have the odds on site that you want. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right. But yeah, data's a big thing, especially Opta. We do a lot of Opta on PreMatch, and talking about Jamie Vardy, you just know how many shots on target he's expected to have in a game. That's something that comes, but it's really good fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say from on top of that, just for like an in-play perspective as well, a lot of ours is more orientated down model paths. We have like predetermined algorithms. Exactly, you imagine how a game would decay across the time. That's how your odds are obviously going to differ. However, there is opportunities, like say for our traders, who do then have a slight influence on how that is kind of deviations on the prices basically. But a lot of the in-plays, ran by our own design sheets and models and things like that.
And who's created them?
So we have a wider team away from ourselves who actually have designed a lot of these. So like quants, things like that, who have gone through and sorted this out for us. It's way above my pay grade. But we do have people in the team who've got like really good, have got maths degrees backgrounds, and like I say, we use a lot of, we've created our own sheets essentially. So a lot of the markets you'll see on site, we've had people who've designed Excel sheets and so on to help create these markets in the past. So like Rob said, I think he mentioned it a while ago, just a lot of these ideas and creations actually do come within our team, and then they get passed on to the guys who actually know a little bit more than us and can simplify it basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some people's spreadsheets and it's like unbelievable. But as well, like people have come to interviews as well, haven't they, with their own sheets and been like, this is what I've been doing in my own time. So if you already kind of got a good understanding of betting coming to an interview, then definitely, we're interested in seeing what you guys have done. I'm just trying to find another question. So for the in-play guys, what would you be doing during the match? Would you be recording events whilst watching the match, or just sitting having a chill?
It would be nice to just sit and have a chill. No, so we do record matches just to kind of go back. We do have incidents where, like say, goals could be chalked off. We could have incidents which aren't obviously convenient for the customers or ourselves, so we have to review these and make sure we obviously come around to the right decision. I think, especially for the in-play team, it's like, you're on it straight after. As soon as that like start of the game goes, the whistle goes, you've got to be, the concentration and the focus is huge. It can be a little bit demanding, but like I said, it's nothing that I've not known anyone like not thrive in that environment as well. Like, it's something we do look in, like in traders essentially coming into an in-play environment. Got to be looking at site, you're going to be looking at your model, looking at like your data feed. All these values are going to be coming into you, and like as we've mentioned multiple times, it's all, like I say, making sure on the page everything's there exactly how we want it and it's aligned for the customer. So yeah, it's very much fast paced and quite dynamic as well.
Someone's asked if we offer remote working for sports traders. So at the moment, it's not something we generally do, as far as I'm aware. We don't really have any remote workers in the trading team, do we?
It's not full time, I don't think, at the moment. Yeah. It's one that we don't completely disapprove of it. So especially in Rob's team, I know, and a few guys from sports, there are people who will go and do days from home. But it's a bit of a mixed bag. Like for in play, we basically have certain, if you've got the right setup basically at home, as you can imagine, we're putting all these markets, everything on the front end of our site and our app. So making sure you've got the right setup and things is the starting point to have that opportunity, which, like I say, a few traders across the whole department do. So yeah, there is an opportunity there. But like I say, I think a lot of time we like to get people in. We do a lot of meetings, and like I say, there's, for ourselves to link in with, like, there's 5-6 teams within the football, just football. So like actually all being on the same floor and in together makes life a lot easier for us. So yeah, I think it's one of those for the future maybe.
Yeah, definitely. Someone's asked, are there any upcoming A-level school leaver opportunities? So that was Joe. Joe, we would say that, as long as you're over 18, you can apply to work at SkyBet. And, if you haven't got vast experience, that's absolutely fine. But again, I would just encourage you to maybe write a covering letter or make it really clear on your actual CV application that what it is about this industry that interests you, because we do receive a lot of applications with people who don't reference their interest in numbers or their data or sports, and it's really hard to pick out who are those ones who've got a real passion. So if you're a school leaver, maybe perhaps or someone with limited experience working in a working environment, then I would just make sure that it's really clear, what your motivations are, and maybe even think outside the box. Like, how else can I get across to these people that I really want to look at SkyBet? You could do a video and send it in. Oh, I'm gonna have loads of videos now. But yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can kind of appeal and make yourself noticeable and stand out in the marketplace. Because especially especially for these roles, because people do think that it's just watching football. You do get a lot of applications, but it's a lot of hard work that goes into it as well. And obviously, you do get to watch football, which is ideal, or whichever sport you're working on. The other question I've had, so someone's asked, is sports trading a very male-dominated sector? I'll answer this one. So it can be. It's something that we're working on to try and encourage more women to consider a career in trading, and totally kind of break down any biases in the recruitment process. So we've got an inclusion engagement team who are working closely with our leadership team and leaders to create a really consistently inclusive place to work, and where anyone and everyone would feel like they belong in any part of the business, whether it's trading, marketing, HR, etc. So definitely welcome applications from everyone, and it's something that we're working on as a team. Okay, I think that's it really, guys. Is there anything else you want to add before the end of the session?
feel like
No.
we've covered most of it, haven't we? I feel like it's quite, I don't know, I feel like we've probably repeated a lot there as well, but I hope it's kind of got the bit of a message across and giving you a bit of an understanding and feeling for what trading might be like, and hopefully, like I say, it'll inspire you. And
I'm sick of staring at Henshaw's pixelated hair.
I know. It's been throwing me off all the way through. It looks like a FIFA character, doesn't it?
Yeah, Pro Evo 05. He could have at least cut off.
I don't know what he's done. I messaged him just making sure he was muted.
He made a really strange noise